My name is Mira. I'm 28. I am a biology professor and an avid mountain biker.
I'm John, 28. I'm an English professor and a poetry slam enthusiast.
My name is Brenna. I'm 20 and I'm a student. I study Russian literature.
I'm Janaea. I'm also a student. I'm 19 and I'm a fine arts major. And we actually met at a singing competition.
I'm Maya and I'm 17 years old, and one interesting thing about me is that I love to sing in the shower.
I'm David and I'm also 17. I like to go into the woods looking for Sasquatch.
And we met a couple months ago at Planet Pizza where we both work.
My name is Juan and I'm a 16-year-old high school student. I play football and I was voted class clown.
I'm Andy, I'm 17, I'm a student. Fun fact about me, I broke the local record for the longest quilted blanket.
Single, I've been dating different types of people, but at the moment I consider myself single.
We've been married 5 years now.
But it feels like an eternity.
So I'm single right now. I've had a boyfriend in the past, but I couldn't really find the time to dedicate to a relationship. So now I'm focusing on school and friends and sports, and that's really great. I think it's important to realize that, like everything else in life, there are both advantages and disadvantages to being single and in a relationship.
We've been together for 6 months.
We're exclusive and we're not seeing other people.
All right, how do we define a relationship? That's a bit confusing. Do you want to explain?
Well, I thought we weren't exclusive.
And I thought the exact opposite.
We started hanging out outside of work, and I really liked him. He's kind of funny. But we never really labeled our relationship. We ran into each other at the movies while I was on a date with another guy I had been spending time with. David saw me and looked really confused.
Well, I was confused and a little surprised to see her there, but when I went over to say hi, another guy walked up. Who is this guy? A cousin? A friend or something? We were just on 2 different pages, but we cleared it up and agreed being non-exclusive was the best fit for us.
Yeah, and now we still see each other and are kind of like friends with benefits.
Yeah, we are.
Well, according to the dictionary, sexual intercourse is sexual contact between individuals involving penetration, especially the insertion of a man's erect penis into a woman's vagina, typically culminating in the ejaculation of semen.
I used to think of sex as penis-vagina penetration, but Nira really helped me see that that was a narrow-minded viewpoint.
Yeah, I think to qualify the only form of sex as penis and vagina penetration was an old, uninformed and sexist notion that excluded other forms of sex.
And since we had decided to remain sexually abstinent until marriage, we had to define sex for us. We now view sex as any sexual activity with another person's participation.
To me, sex is oral, anal, or vaginal, all genders included.
We both feel like sex is sex, something no one should be ashamed of as long as they're being safe.
And whatever kind of sex we have, we definitely use protection.
Sex is, well, it's complicated. It's fun, it's scary, it's intimate, it's nerve-wracking. Trying to describe sex is like trying to describe the shape of a cloud. Everyone sees it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, I've been exploring a lot and trying different things.
Nope, not yet.
Yeah, we've been sexually active since our wedding night.
Yes, I may not be in a relationship, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy sex. I've been sexually active for about a year now. I've heard of a couple different ways of measuring when someone is ready. My friend's mom always said that you're ready to have sex when you're comfortable enough to buy condoms for yourself. Some people have also told me that you should have sex when you're in love with someone. I think at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if sex is right for you.
I think it's hard for someone to know when they're ready, especially when they're being fed images of when they should be. I think it's different for every individual. It's never the same for anyone. And I've had to think deeply for myself.
For me, the process was a bit different. In my faith, remaining abstinent till marriage was really important, and that worked for me.
I talked to my parents when I first considered having sex. I made sure I was ready by educating myself on the risks and how to reduce them with the proper tools.
I know it sounds cliche, but I kind of just knew. I had been thinking about having sex for a while, and then after talking to this guy for a couple of weeks, I had decided I was ready.
I guess they're nervous, but it's like good nerves, and they're really excited, kind of like how I feel before a big game.
Well, I need to feel safe and secure with my partner, and I think we need time to get to know each other. I rushed in my last relationship, so I really want to make sure I take my time with this one.
I haven't had sex yet, so I just want to think a little bit more about it because I haven't experienced it yet. Since Brenna had already had sex before, I thought this was the next step in our relationship, even though I hadn't done it before. So one day when Brenna was dropping me off, I told her my roommate wasn't home and I asked if she wanted to come in.
I was really surprised because I knew where that was going and I knew I wasn't ready, so I declined.
It was just so awkward because both of us assumed what the other one wanted.
But later when we talked, we realized neither of us were ready and we would give it some time.
For me, it's usually initiated with flirting. I pay attention to body language and verbal cues when trying to figure out if a partner is interested. If they don't say or show that they're interested, then it's time to back off. Consent has not been established.
Well, one day we were just hanging out, and one thing led to another, and we were both just comfortable with each other.
If I'm ever confused about consent, I'll just ask.
Since we're not having sex yet, I'll have to get back to you on that, but as far as consent goes, yes means yes and no means no, and that can be changed at any time.
I think in any kind of relationship, communication is key. When we communicated, everything just clicked for us.
And Nira is usually the one that initiates the sexual activity. Again, it's going to be different for every person, every couple, but for us, it really starts with those positive cues and that open communication. The signals are essential.
I wait a while and I watch what my partner says and how they react, and I think if we say yes and if we're both initiating mutual sexual activity, then that means that we're consenting. We were hanging out after school, like we do every Wednesday, playing video games and joking around. I caught his eye and something clicked. Something changed for me. All of a sudden we were kissing, so I was like, whoa. I just acted on feelings I didn't even know I had. So I asked him how he felt about it. Turns out we had a lot to talk about. Like, how will this affect our friendship? Did he want this to go further? I mean, I know I did, but that made me realize the importance of having a consent talk with each of my partners and how important it is to have an open line of communication.
Our primary method of protection was condoms, which is a barrier method that helps protect against unwanted pregnancies as well as sexually transmitted infections like gonorrhea, chlamydia, or HPV.
However, after we talked and decided that we were ready to have kids, we visited the doctor and decided to no longer use barriers.
I always use protection. When I first became sexually active, I was a little overwhelmed, especially with the wide array of birth control options. I use the NuvaRing as my birth control, and I always make sure that my partner wears a male condom. I get my condoms for free at my local women's clinic. I think it's a lot easier to get safe and effective contraception than most people think.
Well, at first I tried the shot, but it made me cranky like all the time, so I decided to switch to the pill. And then with the pill, it was hard for me to remember to take it every day at the same time, and I ended up forgetting like half the time. So my doctor was finally like, you should try a long-acting birth control. And now I use this hormonal IUD called the
Mirena.
Yeah, the Mirena, and it's this little thing your doctor puts in your uterus, and it can stay in there for like up to 5 years.
Even though I know she uses that, we always make sure to use a male or female condom, but never both.
Well, I learned from a friend that you can still contract STIs from oral sex, so now I use a condom during any type of sex.
In the past, I've used dental dams. Oh, I have one. I always keep one in my purse. It's a thin plastic sheet that acts as a barrier between the mouth and the vagina, or the mouth and the anus if you want.
You can also use male condoms. You just unroll the condom, cut off the tip, and then you can cut along the side. So that works too.
Mine! I learned this the hard way. Funny story. I was on a date at the zoo with this guy friend of mine. When we went back to his house, things started to heat up. He told me that he was out of condoms and asked if I had any. I laughed and said, "No, you're the guy. You bring the condoms, right?" We decided that it was okay to have sex anyway if he pulled out. The next day, I was worried about the fact I'd unprotected sex, so I made the decision to talk to my mom about it. After we had the talk, when she told me pulling out is not effective, we took a trip to the pharmacy together. My mom bought me emergency contraception, which I hadn't heard of before. Then we purchased male condoms. The whole thing made me realize that it is just as much my responsibility to bring condoms as it is my partner's. Ever since I became sexually active, I've had regular checkups with my gynecologist to talk about my birth control, preventing STIs, all that stuff. At first, I didn't know what to expect and was nervous, but let me tell you though, it's pretty nice to have a professional to ask any questions that I may have.
Well, I get checked pretty regularly for STIs because I choose to have sex with different partners.
After our talk at the movie theater, I decided to get tested. I wasn't too worried because we've been using protection, but it's always good to know your STI status.
Plus, knowing your status gives you the confidence to enjoy the fun part of sex.
A couple of my friends got STIs, and that encouraged me to go get tested and make it part of my regular health routine. So now I go every 3 to 4 months, but some of my friends who aren't as sexually active go every 6 months, once a year.
Yeah, I regularly go to the doctor for pap smears. And while it may not be the most fun thing to have cold metal shoved up your hoo-ha, you just gotta do it.
It's not that bad. Pap smears are totally worth it to screen for things like cervical cancer.
We've both been to the clinic and have been tested for STIs. All you have to do is call the clinic and schedule an appointment.
I'm very confident in the monogamy of our relationship. But you can't rely on that as your method of safer sex protection. I'm always a little nervous before the testing, but the doctor was very knowledgeable and walked me through the process, and it wasn't so bad.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Education is empowering.
It's okay to explore your sexuality.
Sex is different for everyone.
And only you can decide when you're ready.
Sex is fun. Relax.
And come prepared.
Communicate, communicate, communicate.
Yeah, and your doctor in your clinic can be a big resource for helping maintain your sexual health.
Not Your Usual Bedtime Story was created by a small group of high school students, along with the support from the Southwest Institute for Research on Women, and was funded by UNIDAS of the Women's Foundation of Southern Arizona.
Our goal was to create a modern sexual education film that addresses the issues teens face today. We drew from our experiences and those of our peers to develop the characters and content. We hope this film will encourage discussion about a variety of sexual health topics.
Please check out the resources presented in the film and toolkit, and always remember, knowledge is empowering.
Fun, it's intimate, it's scary, it's... No. 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 That's not what it is. Okay. Let's try that again.
Who's this?
Dude. That was him. That was him. You saw that. That was him.
Action.
Okay, so you're here today. We're going to test you for sexual.
Sorry, the cat walked through the scene again. Sex is fun. Relax. Oh, that was weird. Okay, let me redo that. I felt like I was yelling at you. Okay.
Relax.
Relax.